We are 2 seconds in. Do you see yourself on the screen?
I do.
So that's a touch screen in front of you. Would you mind drawing a circle around yourself?
Okay.
All right. So you are directly above the black shirt band banner.
Correct.
All right. And then we can clear that. All right, we did it already. Thank you. I'd ask that we put up for the witness only exhibit number 22, please.
Go ahead.
Just going to play a few seconds without any audio for the witness only. Pause. And we've stopped at 7 seconds. Do you recognize that video?
I do.
What does this video show?
This video also shows the car coming through as well, and different angle in terms of some of the students dispersing as well, some of them getting struck by the car.
Is this video also an accurate representation of what happened that day?
Yes, it is.
Move exhibit 22 into evidence and ask to publish.
Mr. Brooks, any position?
Objection.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 22 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
We're going to play this in its entirety. It's 32 seconds long with the audio. Did you see yourself in that video?
I did.
Let's go back to the beginning, please, and set it to play at 50% speed. And we'll turn the audio off this time. And we'll play from the beginning. Let's pause. We've paused at 9 seconds. Can you use the screen in front of you and circle yourself if you see yourself? Can we clear that, please? And we'll resume at the 9-second mark. Pause. We've paused at 21 seconds. You testified earlier that you initially ran towards the vehicle as it was driving away, is that right?
Correct.
Do we see you do that in this portion of the video?
Yes.
If you see yourself, can you circle yourself on the screen? So you're in the bottom right-hand corner. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. We can take that down. Did you see that red SUV stop at any point?
No.
As you were in real time remembering the events of that day, do you recall seeing any of your students getting hit?
I did not see any of my students get hit, only of the group in front of me. I just saw, like I said, things flying because they were in the formation. It came through the middle.
In the immediate aftermath, after the vehicle had gone through and after you had run after it briefly, did you have any personal interaction with any of your students who had been hit?
I did. There were several on the ground, and they were surrounded by other bystanders who stepped in. So I just basically was circulating on the ground between the students who were injured, and then the students had run away to several shops in the area. And so I was it probably was an hour, it felt like. I don't really know how much time it was exactly, but rotating between the students who were injured as we were waiting for first responders, as well as checking on the students and trying to at least keep the kids who were not injured in a space where we knew where they were, so we could safely get them home once all of our injured students had been picked up by first responders.
Do you know whether any of those students that you had personal interaction with had to be transported to the hospital?
There were several students that had to be taken to the hospital.
Do you know in general the nature of some of those injuries?
There was many broken bones, there was internal bleeding, dental work that needed to be done, lots of stitches, cuts, abrasions, sprains, torn ligaments.
Did you remain in your capacity as the Waukesha South marching band director for the remainder of that academic year?
I did.
You eventually went back to school after that Sunday, the 21st, is that right?
That is correct. So we went back to school once we were assured that we had as many students that were still left in the area back to get them on the bus back to school.
You're talking about that night, Sunday
That
the
evening,
21st?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And in the days that followed, kids
Yes.
came back to school,
They did, yes.
and you had personal interaction with the members of your marching band?
Yes, I did.
Your objections noted, it's overruled.
Can we please put Exhibit 21 back up on the screen? And this has previously been admitted. It's the diagram. I'd ask that we put it up for the jury as well.
Go ahead.
Based on your own observations that day, your interaction with the students in the immediate aftermath, and your review of the video evidence here today in court, how many of those 10 members of your marching band were either struck or run over by the red SUV?
They all were.
Can you tell us whether or not you got a good look at the driver that day?
I did from the profile.
Approximately how many feet would you estimate you were from the driver at his closest?
Probably 2 feet.
You were still in the street at that point,
Correct.
and the SUV was too?
Yes.
We saw in the video what the lighting conditions were, but could you describe from your own memory what the lighting was like that day?
Overruled. You may answer.
The lights were the sun was beginning to set. However, we were in an area where we were by lots of stores, so the sun was still out, as well as the light coming from all the storefronts.
Could we project on the screen for the witness only, exhibit number 120? Do you see an image on the screen in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Is that image an accurate representation of what the driver of the SUV looked like that day when you saw him?
Completely, yes.
I'd move exhibit 120 into evidence and ask to publish.
120 is received. Permission to publish is granted. May have been received earlier.
Yeah, it's already been received.
I believe you testified a little bit earlier about the driver's demeanor as you observed him. Could you go into more detail about that?
It was an accident because I could not imagine anything else. But when the car went past me, my perception changed of what was happening completely, because the driver was looking straight ahead, looked very attentive at that point. So the driver clearly was aware that he had hit and run over all of these people. It was not something that could have happened without the driver's awareness. We were also coming up on an intersection of a cross street, and although there was a crowd on the side, again, this is just my perception, but if the driver had been trying to escape the parade route so they were no longer hitting people, I felt like an instinct would have caused the head to turn to see if there was a way out on that side street. But the driver's head never turned looking for a way out of the parade route at that moment, and that's what caused my perception of what was going on that day to change.